Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. Know that I appreciate you. It is I, Jay, and I want to do part 2 of my personal COVID-19 journey. If you've not seen part 1, I will give you a quick recap, but before I do that, I want to let you know that I am at home. Usually my videos are done in my car, but I am at home and I'm doing this video in my office. I actually did a whole part 2 in the car on the way home Friday, and for whatever reason it did not stick, did not record, even though I had pressed record. And so therefore I have to do it all over again. So you are going to hear all kinds of noise in the background. You might hear the shower going, the toilet flush, my neighbors and their noise. You might hear the washer or the dryer going. You might hear my husband bellowing for me. You may hear a little bit of anything and everything. If you've ever watched my videos before, then you know that is why I do my videos the way that I do. That is why they are called the Car Chronicles. Because in the car is basically really the only place that I'm able to speak uninterrupted without you hearing any more than the road noise or cars blowing their horns. All right, so now that that is out of the way, just a quick recap. On December 17th, I tested positive for COVID-19. I began feeling symptoms initially probably about the 6th or the 7th, but did not realize that those were actual symptoms that I was feeling. What I gave them is the testing site, that is, what I gave them was the date of the 11th, that I thought that that's when my symptoms started. But it turns out that it was actually around the 6th or the 7th, and it may have been, if you've watched part 1 rather, you know that it may have been probably prior to that, based on something that I had noticed in my video the week before the 6th. Sunday was the 6th. So if you watched that, then you know what I'm talking about. And what I will do is to make certain that I put that video here. I carded somewhere. But then I will also attach my very first video that actually talks about me that I actually talk about COVID while I was sick. And talk about all the things that I was already doing as far as the medicines are concerned and things of that nature. So again, I started feeling symptoms about the 6th or the 7th, probably the Thursday or Friday before that. By that Sunday, which was the 13th, I had no taste, no smell. My taste and smell had minimized. By Monday, the 14th, is when it was really gone, 100% gone. My skin was extremely sensitive, and so I knew that I needed to schedule for the COVID test because my sense of taste and smell were absolutely gone. The skin sensitivity, that's not new for me. Feeling like I had the flu, that's not new for me. All the symptoms that I mentioned in part 1, none of those were new for me, with the exception of the loss of the taste and the smell, the way that I lost it. Because even when I have a cold or a flu or something like that, you know, your taste buds and your senses are kind of off whack. They're kind of out of whack, just because all of that is tied together. But the fact that by Monday afternoon, I had no taste whatsoever and no smell whatsoever, not even a little bit, let me know that there was something more going on. Even though I didn't want to believe that it was COVID, it let me know that something more was going on. So I scheduled my test for the next day, which was Tuesday. But by Tuesday morning, I woke up and I felt absolutely horrible. Was really not able to move about. As I said in part one, I felt like someone had jumped me during the night and beat me. That's just how sore my body was. Something else that I noticed prior to the 6th was that my stomach was bothering me. And it wasn't bothering me in the sense that I had some gestational issues going on, or some digestive issues going on, but it was sore, like from, you know what it feels like when you do crunches and you haven't done crunches in a while, or you do more crunches than you're used to doing, and your insides, your muscles feel really very sore, really very tender. That's what my stomach felt like. And I knew that I hadn't been doing sit-ups or crunches or anything because I didn't start working out again until after I started feeling better. I wasn't working out at that time. I had made up in my mind that I was going to work out just before the new year. So I wasn't working out. I hadn't done anything strenuous. So I did not know why my stomach muscles were so sore. It made no sense to me. And again, that was before the 6th, probably the same week, like the week before, the same week that my neck was really very swollen. You could like, it was like almost like this, but I thought I was just bloated. My stomach was bothering me, like I said, and I really didn't know what it was. But yeah, so that's the recap of part one. So part two, starting on the 17th when test results came back. I mentioned this previously in part one, but on the 17th when the test results came back, I showed them to my husband. He kind of looked at them and rolled over. But I did say to him that I needed him to get his testing done. I asked him if he was going to get the test done, and he said, yeah, whatever, and then rolled over and went back to sleep. So when he did wake up, I had already actually gone on to the medical website to try to schedule with his doctor for him to be seen that day. I had gone on to be seen that day, or at the very least the next day. So either the 17th or the 18th. And the closest or the soonest that we could get was the 18th. And it really wasn't even with his doctor. His doctor didn't have any slots available. Even though I put in there that, look, we need to make this appointment because I tested positive. We want to make sure he doesn't have it. And I didn't get a response back. So I ended up, and we waited a couple of hours. I waited a couple of hours before I called. So I ended up calling them to make the appointment. And we were able to get in the next day and have a doctor give him a call. We didn't go in. They don't want you to come in if you don't have to. They're still doing phone appointments. As a matter of fact, he's got 3 appointments coming up this week, and of the 3, either 1 or 2 of them are phone appointments. So whatever. So we're, I'm trying to get him in, and at his appointment, the doctor said, we can't test you unless you're showing signs. And thankfully, he was not showing any signs. The pain that he had on his body was the pain that he normally has. It had not intensified. Nothing was different about it. It's the pain that he normally has. So I was grateful for that. He was not coughing. He wasn't sneezing. He didn't have the fatigue or the weakness outside of the normal for him. He wasn't foggy. He didn't have headaches. All of those things. He still had his taste and smell. All of those things he was still normal in. So we were grateful that he was showing no signs. But because he was showing no signs, they would not test him. But here's the good thing about that. I had, like I said in the previous video, I had moved myself out of the bedroom prior to getting the test results because I wanted to make certain that whatever I had, whether it was the flu or COVID, whatever it was, I didn't want him to get it. So I'd already moved myself out of the bedroom and I was sleeping on the sofa. So that's the 18th, which was that Friday. Prior to, however, on the 17th, The same day that I got my test results, our dog died. We had a little Chihuahua. He was an old dude, probably older than 10. He could not, he was basically blind, basically deaf, had very few teeth in his mouth, and was prone to seizures. So he started showing signs that something wasn't right. Things were going wrong with him. And he had started showing signs like the week before, but we weren't sure what was going on. But then this particular day, he was just walking the walls. When he finally got up, because he slept all day, he was walking the walls, walking the walls, walking the walls. And he didn't care what was there in front of him. He would go over it, which was unusual for him because he didn't climb over anything. He was an old dude, like I said, but he was just walking the walls. And he, at one point, got behind the sofa. And thankfully, the sofa was far enough away from the wall where I could just actually reach down and pick him up. But he was trying to climb over. We have what is this thing that my husband has behind the sofa for the base? Whatever the thing is, the subwoofer, whatever it is, that's behind the sofa for the base. So he was climbing over that. And then we have our extra pillows behind the sofa, and he was trying to climb over the pillows. So I grabbed him. I said, look, let's just take him to the vet. So I get him downstairs. He was fighting me the whole time. He didn't want me to carry him. He just wanted to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. And then my husband's like, well, maybe we should put him in his crate. So he went and got the crate. I got him in the crate, put him in the car. He is still trying to walk in the crate, like just going around and around and around and around. At some point, he started bleeding. And I know this is a little bit too much, but at some point, he started bleeding from his eyes. And we knew for sure at that point that that's what was happening. So we get him to the vet. We get him to the clinic part. They said, yeah, absolutely, this is what's happening. He is dying. So we're just going to go ahead and put him out of his misery because this is clearly a painful thing for him. He can barely breathe at this point. His tongue was hanging out of his mouth and it was starting to turn black. Like I said, he was bleeding from his eyes. So all of this was going on with him, and all of this was going on while I am sick as crap with COVID. So my body is still aching. I am still really very foggy. I'm still really very weak and fatigued. All of this is going on while I am sick. So we got the collar because I told them that's the only thing we wanted was his collar. So we got the collar. I even gave them the crate because there was no point for us keeping the crate. He was the only dog that we had. And so we get back home and I get back on the sofa. The husband is sad. He's trying to deal with it. I get back on the sofa. I'm a little sad at the same time. But I'm grateful that I was home when this all happened so that I could take him, because the husband does not handle situations like that very well. He has a tendency to panic. He panics with stuff like that. So anyway, this is all going on again while I'm sick. So that Friday we see the doctor via the phone, and like I said, she says that they won't test him unless he's showing signs. Gratefully, he is not showing any signs, so they won't test him. So that is Friday. Saturday rolls around. The body aches are starting to subside, but I'm still aching. It's just not as intense as it was from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It was really intense, really very intense, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. But by Saturday, it started easing up a little bit. By Sunday, it was easing up a little bit more. I think actually, probably by Tuesday, is when they really got to a point where it didn't hurt as bad to get up and move around. But this is what happened. This is another thing that happened. So when you test positive for COVID, your state department or your county department of health reaches out to you almost immediately. So I started receiving text messages. My test results came out Thursday. I started receiving text messages by Thursday evening. They start reaching out to you almost immediately. And then they wanted me to fill out this survey. So trying to do it with my phone and it's not happening. So finally by Sunday, I sat down at the computer and actually typed in the URL and completed the survey. And Monday, they gave me a call to they gave me a call to talk to the husband in actuality. They wanted to see if he had any symptoms. And I said, well, that's kind of odd that you would call to talk to him when I'm the one that's sick. So the woman explained that they didn't have his number. So they called my number. And I said, well, he's sleeping right now, but he's not showing any signs. We're grateful for that. I started quarantining myself, on and on and on. So once I got that clarified with her, she started asking me questions about me. Now the date that I initially gave them was the 11th, because that's when I was thinking that this is what was happening. That's when I was thinking I was coming down with a cold, rather. So I gave them the date of the 11th, not thinking about the fact that this actually started happening before. I didn't start thinking about this actually started happening before until I was actually home sick, and I'm trying to go back and figure out, where did this start? Where did I get it from? Who did I come in contact with that it would have jeopardized my health like that? Because I wasn't jeopardizing my health. I have masks. I've got masks. I mean, I've got 6 sitting on a bin that I have here right now. I've got even a medical mask sitting right here that I had on earlier. I've got medical masks in the car. I've got the shields, and I need to start wearing those. I've got the face shields. So I need to start wearing those when I go out to the store. I'm always washing my hands and sanitizing my hands and things of that nature. I've been very, very, very cautious. So I was lying down, trying to figure out where this could have come from. I still haven't a clue where I could have contracted it. No clue whatsoever. So, okay, fine. The 21st, they're calling. I'm talking with the lady. And she tells me that as long as I am more than 10 days from my initial symptoms, then I should be all right. I should be all right. As long as I'm 10 days from my initial symptoms, and I'm also 24 hours with no fever, and I'm also 24 hours with no medication, especially to reduce the fever, then I am clear to go back. So I asked her, I asked her before she told me this, do I need to take another test? And she said no. And that's when she began to explain that, you're past 10 days. You're at 10 days now. Once you get past that, you're in no 24 hours of no fever, 24 hours of no medication, especially to reduce the fever. You're good. You are clear to go. No test? Are you sure? Absolutely. So, okay, fine. Now, I will say this. Let me backtrack a little bit. When I got my results on the 17th, I did reach out to my employer to let him know, because I had reached out to him Tuesday when I wasn't coming in to let him know that I was getting the COVID test done. So I did reach out to him to let him know that I indeed tested positive. He gave me a call and said, okay, so, all of the niceties, the sympathy and the well wishes and all that stuff. And then he says, now, I've got to tell the ladies, because I work in an office with 2 other women. And I said, that's not a problem. I understand. It's no big deal, but I'm going to give them a call. I want them to know. So I don't worry about it. I'll let them know. So I did call and let them know that indeed I did have it. I did test positive. So after I talked with them, I sent a text out to a family member to let her know that I tested positive, because if you watched part 1, you know that the 11th and 12th we were with family members because we had lost the family member. So Friday was, the family gathering after the viewing, which we did not attend the viewing, but we did go to the family member's house to, kind of visit with people a little bit. And we did everything, at least I did everything that I could to stay away from people. I sat by myself. I kept my mask on the whole time. I did not drink anything. I did not eat anything. I kept my no, I take that back. I did eat something. The husband and I did eat, but I ate and I put the mask right back on. So then Saturday was the actual funeral service. We went through that. We sat away from everyone because we were trying to protect ourselves from everyone else, not knowing that I was actually COVID positive. We sat by ourselves. We sat behind everyone. We were still with the family, but we sat behind everyone, and we were on a pew by ourselves. It was just he and I, the husband and I. And then we did not go to the burial ground. We left. I actually had a speaking engagement that Saturday, so we did the speaking engagement. I did the speaking engagement. The husband took a nap while I was doing it. Of course, it was online. And then by the time I finished my speaking engagement, he woke up from his nap, and then we went back to the family and, fellowship with them a little bit. Again, I kept my mask on, and I stayed away from everyone else. The husband, on the other hand, kind of mingled with people because there were some people that he had not seen in years. And when I say years, I mean like 20 plus years. There were some people there that he hadn't seen that long. So, but I was still feeling bad about the fact that we were there, and I was positive and didn't know it. So I reached out to that family member. I let her know what was going on. She reached out to other people. Immediately we got a call from someone, one of my husband's relatives, to just see if he was okay. They wanted to know if I was okay too, but they wanted to make sure that he was okay because, again, he is the one with the compromised immune. So they were checking to make sure he was okay. They wanted to make sure that he got the test done and all of that stuff. So did all of that, notified the coworkers and the boss, notified the family members. I notified my children. I let them all know what was going on. Everybody knew. Not that the kids have been around me, because two of them actually don't live here. And the one that does live here, we haven't had her by the house in, oh goodness, probably a month. Yeah, probably a month prior to me getting sick. So we weren't having any visitors. We really were trying not to have people come in the house. Again, I don't have a clue where I contracted this because we were taking every precaution, every single precaution. So anyway, or at least everyone that we know of. So now, moving forward, again, the 21st, talked to the Department of Health. She told me what I needed to do as far as the 10 days, the medicine, the 24 hours, and all that good stuff. So that was the 21st. I didn't want to go back to work until I for sure knew that I was good. So I stayed home for the rest of that week. I stayed home a total of 9 days. I stayed home the rest of that week. I started feeling better by that Friday, which was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 26th. No, 25th. That Friday was the 25th. That Friday was Christmas. So I was feeling better by Christmas. I was starting to feel better by Christmas, to the point where moving around, it really didn't faze me whatsoever. I still had a headache, but it wasn't as intense. My skin was still a little sensitive. It hurt to touch the top of my head. That's just how, what I'm doing right now would have caused me almost to be near tears because it hurt just that much. My vision was not the best during this whole process either. And as you can see, I wear glasses as it is. My vision was not the best. It didn't matter what I had on, what glasses I wore, either the older ones or the new ones. That I have one in part one. Did not matter. So by Christmas, I was feeling better. I was grateful for that. Saturday, I talked to my oldest, and because the kids were, of course, checking on me throughout the Christmas Day and all that stuff. But then also on Saturday. So Saturday, I talked to my oldest, and he's like, how you feeling? And I'm giving him the update. And I said, if I still feel good, By Monday, I'm going to go to work. He said, okay, just don't rush it. So Sunday night rolls around. I'm still feeling decent. Monday comes and I'm like, yeah, I feel okay, but I don't feel okay. Let me just give it another day. But by Tuesday, and I had already stopped taking medication. I had not had a fever since probably Christmas Day, if not Thursday, Christmas Eve. So I stopped taking any medication Friday, Christmas Day. I stopped taking any medication Friday, Christmas Day. So I was on no medication from Saturday and Sunday. I didn't take any medication on Monday. So that was basically, no, I take that back. I did take medication Saturday morning. So no medication Saturday evening, no medication Sunday, and no medication Monday. So I didn't have a fever. I hadn't had a fever since Friday. I hadn't had medication since Saturday morning. So even though I could have gotten up and gone to work on Monday because I had hit those milestones that they told me I needed to hit, I didn't feel comfortable going. I still felt a little weak. So I waited until Tuesday. So I returned to work on the 29th and had my mask on. I've been wearing my mask every day, all day. And usually we would, sit at our desks without our masks on. But if we got up to move around the office, we would have our masks on. If we went outside the office, we would have our masks on. But because I was positive, I wanted to make certain that I kept my mask on. So I started wearing my mask throughout the day, full day. Went to work Wednesday. Everything was fine. We were on a short schedule. That made things even better. Went to work Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, didn't have to go to work Thursday. Went to work Monday and Tuesday. Thursday was New Year's Eve. We didn't have to work New Year's Eve. We didn't have to work New Year's Day. So I was technically at work for 2 days. Got paid for 3. And and then came back to work full-time, regular schedule this past Monday, which was the 4th, regular schedule. So again, we're wearing masks all day. All of us are wearing masks all day. However, my employer reached out to us Monday. He reached out to us Monday and stated that he wasn't going to be, was it Monday? It might have been Tuesday. Reached out to us Tuesday to say that he was not going to be in the office for a good 8 or 9 days because someone in his family tested positive. So he just wanted to stay away just to be on the safe side. So yeah. Now I will say, as far as the pay is concerned, I'm going to try to end this. I have in my notes that I started feeling better on the 24th, which was Christmas Eve. So yeah, that's what that was. Started feeling better on the 24th. That was good. Christmas Day, so on and so forth. I will say, as far as pay is concerned, that was a problem for me because my employer did not tell me that I had to send him a statement, letting him know why I was out. All I did was send him a text and say my test came back positive, and he called me. That's what I did. I didn't know I had to send him a written statement. So when I came back to work, I asked him if I was going to get paid for those 9 days that I was out. And I was told no, I wouldn't get paid because he needed that statement. And I said to him, that's simple enough. That's easy enough. I can give you a statement. Had I known that you needed the statement, I would have made sure you had it a long time ago to make certain that I got paid on time. And it wasn't that he was holding the money. It was that this was new for him. It was also new for me because the last time that I had to be off work for 3 weeks because of COVID, not because I tested positive, but because it took 3 weeks to get my test results back the first time that I tested for COVID. It took 3 weeks to get my results back, and then I was negative, but I got paid for 10 of those 15 days that I was out. And my understanding was, the government said it's the CARES Act that says that, you are, as an employer, especially if you've gotten the money, that you are able to pay your employees for up to 10 days if they are out due to COVID, whether it's them that have COVID or whether it's, they've been exposed to COVID, or whether it is a loved one that has COVID and they have to care for that loved one. So I was kind of confused when we roll around to me being out for 9 days and him telling me that I wasn't going to get paid. I was really confused by that. So it all worked out. The pay is supposed to be on my next check. So it'll be like I'm getting 2 checks in one. I did get paid for 3 days. And for those 3 days, I ended up taking that money and paying, some bills that needed to get paid. But I had 2 big bills that needed to get paid that did not, because I didn't get a full paycheck. But thankfully, I did check with him Friday to make certain that it was going to show up on my next paycheck. And he said yes. So I'll be able to pay the other the other 2 bills that need to be paid, that I pay out of my first paycheck of the month. So yeah, make certain that if, God forbid, you contract COVID and you are, still able to do things for yourself, make certain that you fill out or send in a statement as to why you're going to be out. Now, I sent him not only my test results, but I also did the statement. And I did the statement because he said that he didn't want to send my personal information to them. He just wanted to make certain that it was clear that I had COVID, and that's why I was out. So I sent him that, and everything should be good. And if what he says is true, it should be on my very next paycheck. So be mindful of that. So yeah, I am, as of today, today is the 10th. So I am technically 2 weeks, maybe more. I don't have my, let me look at my calendar really quickly. But I believe it's 2 weeks that I have. Yeah, I went back to work on the 29th. This Tuesday, the 12th, makes it 2 weeks that I have, that I will be back for 2 weeks. This past Thursday, since I said the 24th. The 24th on is when I started feeling better. So it'll be 2 weeks this past Thursday that I have been healed of COVID, no longer suffering from COVID. I will say this. I know that it's going to take some time for my body to get back to 100%. I still, from time to time, have a little bit of fatigue. I still, from time to time, have a little bit of weakness. And if you cannot tell, my voice comes and goes. Sometimes it's a full-on voice. Sometimes it's a little hoarse. That was one thing that happened as well while I was sick with COVID. My voice went away. Yeah, and that actually started that Friday, the 11th. That's when my voice started going away. So even during my speaking engagement, I was not full voice. And I talked for almost a full hour, if not a full hour. So yeah. But yeah, so that's it. That is it. We are still remaining cautious. Like I said, I'm still wearing my mask. I'm still washing my hands or sanitizing my hands. And like I said, I will be wearing my face shield when I have to go out in public starting tomorrow. And it's just because I forgot to do it this weekend. So yeah, we are going to be cautious. I pray that none of you are ill or have been ill or have lost a loved one to this dreadful disease. I pray that if you are ill, that you make it through 100% healed, no residue, no remnants of the illness. I know for me, it's going to take me a little bit to come back, but not very long. But yeah, so I pray that all is well with you, that everything, that you are, again, well. And if you have COVID, that you are completely healed, no residue, no remnants. So yeah, I appreciate you for watching. Why don't you please do me the favor of going and hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and then also that bell so that you can be notified anytime that I post. I've got several videos here where you can just sit back and watch for hours and hours and hours and hours. But yeah, I appreciate you. Peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose and know once again that I appreciate you.